Good good morning. It's Words with Us again and the Poetry Salon with Robbie Nestor and go ahead, Tresha.
Oh, and Tresha Haefner, who needs to put us in the spotlight. Now we're famous. Yes, we are Words with You still. We're still with you, and I'm still Tresha of the Poetry Salon. And Robbie, who do we have? Who do we have with us today? As if I didn't
Today,
know.
today we have Donna Spruijt Metz and Heidi Seaborn, and I'm really looking forward to their reading. Um, and we've got a slew of people who are going to read after them on the open mic. We generally ask people to read about one shortish poem, um, so that we're not here all night because we get grumpy when we're here all night. Especially me. I'm getting over from a virus, and
You can't actually have too much of a good thing. Yeah.
absolutely. Even though we all love poetry, we don't love it for hours at a time.
Think of the words of Gypsy Rose Lee. Just always leave us wanting more. In fact, read half a poem and then leave. We'll be so intrigued.
Don't leave. Stay to listen to everyone else.
Good
That's
point,
one
Robbie. Yeah.
reason we hold off the open mic until the end. So now I need to find my introduction, and I'll introduce our first reader, who is Heidi Seaborn. Heidi Seaborn is the executive editor of the Adroit Journal and winner of the Missouri Review Editors Prize in Poetry. Her third book of poetry, Tick, 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 is forthcoming in 2025 from Cornerstone Press. Heidi's the author of three award-winning books, chapbooks of poetry, and Insomniac Slumber Party with Marilyn Monroe. Isn't that a great title? Give a Girl Chaos and Bite Marks. Recent work has appeared in Agni, Blackbird, Coppernickel, Financial Times. Now that's interesting. Image, Poetry Northwest, Rattle and Train, The Slowdown, and elsewhere. Heidi holds degrees from Stanford and NYU. Kind of reminds me of the time I sent a poem to Tropical Fish Hobbyist and they didn't take it. Well, take it away, Heidi, please.
Give us just a second, Heidi, to spotlight you, though. I want to make sure that
Sure.
we've got you. Where? Oh, there you are. Okay. Hiding among all the other poets, and you're the queen
Hi.
now.
Hi. Is the sound good? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you sound terrific.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you, Tresha, and thank you, Robbie, for having me. And thanks everyone for popping in on a Tuesday evening. And I'm so happy to be here with one of my poetry sisters, Donna. Um, And so I'm going to read from my new book, Tick, Tick, Tick. This is what it looks like a clock. Um, and it's about time. It's about the times that we are living through. It's about a lifetime, and I hope it's a little bit of a guide on how to live through these times that are chaotic and challenging. Because I know what Donna's going to read from her new book. I am going to skip toward the end of my book. It's set up into this four sections. Each of them are the seasons, and the first section, winter, is really about the times that we are currently living through. It's got a long poem in it called Continuum, and that starts in January of 2020 and runs to our current times. Um, and then spring is a series of short poems called time capsules that are about what you put in in a time capsule about your life. Um, and summer is where I'm going to begin. And as I was putting this book together, I realized that uh, that part of my struggle was what to believe in when it feels like the world is heating up in so many different ways. So I'm going to start with a poem called Lookout, and it's a four-part poem. The genesis of this poem was I was driving north to visit my sister, and I was listening to a podcast with Jory Graham, and oh my, Jory Graham is just extraordinary and also somewhat terrifying because she is really on it and concerned about all the things that we're concerned about and very vocal. So I started to write this poem right after I landed at my sister's, at least in my mind. And then I spent the rest of the weekend writing this poem. And at some point, I realized that it needed to be in conversation with T.S. Eliot's The Four Quartets. So each of the sections in this poem is talking to uh, the four sections of Eliot's poem. Okay, enough preamble. Lookout. 1. Skagit Valley. Just before Marysville, along the eastern shoulder of I-5, a rusted, dying leaf landscape from a brush fire. I am listening to a poet talk about refining fires, the way Eliot thought about them, purifying cauldron, the torching of our dross, all those sins. It's been the hottest summer on earth. A warehouse, Harley dealership, a 24-hour fitness are untouched by the fire. This, I think, as I drive north, the poet's stern voice on the radio, her poems burning like a smoke signal, and no one listens. Not even me, really. My mind meanders, a protective gesture. It feels like the first day of fall, a crisp edge at dawn and dusk. I am tired of brightly lit days, weary from the harvest of grim statistics. Here the road penetrates cornfields before winding through forest. And what you thought you came for is only a shell, a husk of meaning, wrote Eliot. This end that is not the end, to keep driving, the drone of poetry keeping me from being alone. It's been 7 years since I hiked to the fire lookout over near Twisp. It's been 7 fire seasons. I imagine living out a summer, watching over the rippling North Cascades, watching the sediment of light, the sky pressing against the land, watching whence the smoke arose. In Twisp, there's a small museum dedicated to smoke jumpers, ash on an old man's sleeve. From my house, I watch the Olympics for signs, a horizon muddled by day, ablaze at dusk. This morning, there was fog, lifting off the tousled bed of earth. Where am I driving to? What am I driving from? You came to kneel, to believe, feverish with it, and there, amongst the blur of forest, of fiery red maple, I pull over, cut the engine, fall onto the maple's knuckled roots. 2. Into the garden. It is spider season. Morning sun strums web filaments. The spider waits at its center. What is worthy of such patience? My speed dial hunger satiated. The poet speaks of attention and brevity, of curtailed language. Some days I hear only the loop of my own voice caught in the throat of a long day. Where is the bird to urge me on? The garden still between summer and fall, just the fern and leaves clutching red delphinium branches, caught in the form of limitation. I look out into the silence. I look out from the silence. The news this morning, as yesterday, as tomorrow. Isn't this what Eliot meant when he wrote, "Not here, the darkness in this twittering world"? So I go into the garden, limber beneath the web, its wolf spider undisturbed. Yet a crow angers the bush. I will pull out the dying, rake the raised beds, listening to a podcast with another poet, the hours composting. 3. Puget Sound. On the move again, this time by paddle. The sea is all about me. I had hoped to go earlier, before the afternoon breezes trouble its surface. What will I take from this journey? A line of scarlet anemones, the knowledge of octopus, how short life is. I know that's not the conclusion that Eliot crusades. From the sea, my life on land looks tender and small. In Chinese paintings, humans appear as mites in a natural landscape, the eye uncentered. This year, the jellyfish are numerous, a bloom of jellyfish, a smack of jellyfish. In the compendium of collective nouns, there is no term for humans, though a multiplying of husbands might do the trick. Abundance recenters the eye, eyes, eye. So ravenous are species, speeding until the end. In the forest, I worship the first tree to turn toward death, the tolling bell. Here on the sea, I venerate the living. You came to kneel before a turmoil of porpoises, before. After the sea temperatures rise over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, after the key deer, Goliath, grouper, sea turtle, staghorn, and elkhorn coral, this I hear on the radio, driving home from the thriftway. Does absence consume space? Grief swells and interrupts. Late roses filled with early snow. My mother tells me about a time shop. Clocks, watches, any timepiece can be set right again. But the pace clicks up a notch. I feel the world panting as another day prepares for heat and silence. And what's there at the end that is not the end? The billionaires ready their spacecraft. There are only so many exits. When Maui incinerated, when the Atlas Mountains quaked, when the thrust of Hurricane Idalia, when rivers rose over Emilia-Romagna, Libya, Hong Kong, and the creatures of the summer heat. And I can't outrun the news. It hardens into the landscape like volcanic magma, surfacing into oxygen. Is anyone listening to the frenzy of poets except other poets? Did I mention the lookout near Twisp was long abandoned, and how every season a wildfire? What good does it do to kneel before that destructive fire? To write the sins as if wringing the oil from a rag before flicking the flame? Am I not praying for a beginning? Well, flecked with the ashes from the end. I know we are all having a lot of weather trauma right now. And I live in Seattle. We're in a drought. It was 60 today. That's not normal. Lovely, but warm. And we're worried about snowpack because we're worried about a summer, a fall, a spring of forest fires. And on the east, I know it's devastatingly cold and there's power outages, and this is the world that we are living in. Um, so I'm going to read a poem called Fishing. With fingertips, I peel off the skin, then debone soft salmon flesh, the hue of autumn leaves, the late afternoon sky. I recently read a poem about fishing, but it was really about desire, failure, and ultimately forgiveness, and it ended with praise. A friend tattoos seek joy on her wrist, challenges me to write joy in the season of venison and bitter greens. So I imagine myself in the blue of Greece, drinking Assortico and picking Xiphias off the bone. And then I become the fish swimming down the gullet. If you desire something for a long time, when it arrives, you feel relief and then grief. There have been 5 mass extinctions in the life of planet Earth. The shark has survived 4. I keep thinking of the Bob Dylan line, he not busy being born is busy dying, and wonder if busy is the issue here. I've spent my life on the pages of a planner. But now, in the uncluttered space between days, I hear the faint sound of oars. Then imagine Jonah in a fishing trawler wrestling Hokusai-sized waves, the kind that minnow a mountain, and God sends him into the belly of a whale. I have drowned once and will again. Perhaps I've angered God. Perhaps God is the shark in this story, and survival is a Tao, is a mistral. Yet, that quick tisk of hope, yet. The act of a tree shedding leaves is one of conservation, a gasp of exuberance before letting go, like a salmon dying after spawning. Oh man, last fall I was in Winthrop, which is Eastern Washington, near Twisp, which I read about in the last poem, and I watched the salmon spawning. It's really kind of a miracle. And so that's the thing, amongst everything else. There are these miracles. And so I'm just going to read one final poem. Perhaps this is a prayer. When my eye holds the iridescent wing of a kingfisher, for the split second it soars over the river Avon, I feel the presence of a God, one that sprays the reeds with butterflies, feeds wheat seeds to the most common sparrow. When my friend bends to tame the wildness of flower beds brimming with dahlias and mutters about the mole, I say, that is the God I'm talking about, the one who invites us to tunnel into the hungry earth. Over a lunch harvested from the garden, we debate the existence of heaven and hell, knowing only the temporal, how the river twists its body to embrace the land, and longing silvers the heaving willow. So when I say I imagine there is a God, it's because from this morning's open window, I inhaled honeysuckle and jasmine, heard God in the syncopation of birdsong. Faith found this follower at my most tedious self, cornered in a cul-de-sac, the summer's heat beating like an old heart. Me, kneed by the burden of a body now tilting into a breeze, gathering upward. Thank you, my dear friends.
I'm sorry. It takes me a minute. That was, yeah. I suppose it does indeed tell us how to live, which is with one eye on the miracles and the other on the rest.
And Robbie, a note to your background, which is a Hokusai-sized wave there.
Yes. Yes, I had also in mind what you had written about in that poem and how we were all caught up in something so much larger than ourselves that was out of our control in many ways. But we have to behave as though that's not so. Okay. Thank you so much for that beautiful poem. It was rather like a symphony. It had its various movements, and I didn't at all feel it was long. So thank you for that.
Now might not be a good time, puppy. What do you think? Sky.
Donna Spruijt Metz is author of To Phrase a Prayer for Peace, Wild House Publishing, and General Release from the Beginning of the World, reverse editions. She's an emeritus professor, McDowell Fellow, rabbinical school dropout, and former classical flautist. She lived in the Netherlands for 22 years and translates Dutch poetry. Her collaborative book, And Scuttle My Balloon with Flower Conroy, and her translation of Lucas Hirsch's Wu Wei Eats an Egg are forthcoming, and chapbooks include Slippery Surfaces and Haunt the World, Flower Conroy, and Dear Ghost, winner Harbor Review Editors Prize. Her poems appear in Poem a Day, Alaska Quarterly Review, American Poetry Review, and elsewhere. She gets restless.
Thank you, Robbie. Going to be reading to you today from this book, mostly, almost entirely. And it's called To Phrase a Prayer for Peace. And it's written in the first 155 days of the Israel-Hamas war. I started the first day so shocked, October 7th, that this could actually happen. And I kept writing until day 155. On day 155, by then, the media had gotten so divisive, and I felt like I couldn't speak or breathe. And I wasn't being honest even with myself. And so I stopped. And I just pulled the poems out of it that I thought deserved to live and sent it to a friend of mine, Laura Hogan. And she sent it to Wild House. That's how that happened. So Mark Burrows, who is the editor there, is amazing. If you want a wonderful editor, he is one. So the first poem I'm going to read to you is a prelude to the days of the war. And it's called Hoof, after Psalm 89, lines 26 to 35. Is it that I have had a richness of choices? Have I gazelled sideways from one river stone to the next? Or has this been a series of false starts, the hoof withdrawn at the slightest snow? January's wolf moon calls her pups into the night, marks their necessary kill. We all need to eat. Even now, hoofs paused over the water. My heart says trust. My tracks say doubt. Okay, I'm going to start with day 4 of the war. There's an epigraph from Dana 11, hashtag We Are Toast. And there's a line from Adelia Prado, a favorite Brazilian poet of mine. And at the stolen line, I will do this. Okay. Day 4 of the war, hashtag We Are Toast. It is 7:57 p.m., October 10th, 2023, and I have lived through this day. I weep from room to room. It is taught that prayers said in community are multicolored, while individual prayers are monochrome. We tinker. We are haphazard technicians. God is what we need, and fast. All God's welcome. I'm going to read one that I don't read often, but I read it today and I thought, boy, does this still make sense. So here we go. Day 28, complete encirclement. In 2010, my rabbi wandered through the stone yard, past patterned granite, marble veined with gray and amber, lost in the narrow aisles, his shoes dulled and dusty. He was seeking a synagogue in every stone. Instead, he saw majestic hotels and sleek bathrooms. Forgotten at the very back of the yard, he found blackened bricks, seared and uneven, left too long or fired too high in their kiln. He chose these to build a new synagogue in the heart of Amsterdam. He knew what it meant to be burned. And now everything is burning. How dangerous we have all become. So I write a lot of poems with the Psalms or inspired by the Psalms. And I talk to you, which is capital Y-O-U, capital Y, capital O, capital U. And this is just how it evolved in a way because the Jews have 60 some odd names for God, and every religion has a name for God, and it always is speaking to some aspect. But I wanted to speak, impertinent as I may be, to the whole Monty, to, every aspect of whatever you think of as the deity or God or nature or the great goddess. And so it became capital Y, capital O, capital U. On day 34, I ask you to teach us again after Psalm 116, verses 5 through 8. Ancient concepts, nurture, compassion, justice. Teach us again. We are perpetrators of the unforgivable. We forget. Yet even standing in this rubble, you invite us to return to peace. You say, return. You say, tears. You say, stumble. And we do. We stumble. This is another psalm poem. And it's based on a poem by A. Leyeles. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. A Yiddish poem, a Yiddish poet, as it was taught to me by Danny Kraft. Okay. Psalm for day 42, after Psalm 116, verses 9 through 11. The poet tells us this: once you took 2 heaps of letters, threw them from a mountaintop, and scattered them across all the paths of the world. We are still trying to puzzle them into words. The words you surely intended. Didn't you? We just need a little grace down here, right now. Maybe a hint or two on how to solve this lethal puzzle. How can I stand and be counted when it's the counting itself, the sifting into categories, the willful separation that will kill us all? So by day 64, I can't trust any of the news anymore. It's all untrue or lies or partial truths. So every morning I get up and I'm reading 3 newspapers from Israel and Al Jazeera and The Guardian and also the New York Times because I'm so used to it. It was exhausting because I wanted to know the truth. That's what, when my grandmother and grandfather huddled around the radio, they thought they wanted to know what was happening. Nowadays, nothing, I don't think that's so easy anymore. So day 64, words damage. I try to understand, read across sources, across borders, but every news source I read is grimmer than the one I read before. No, that's not right. The order of my retelling doesn't matter. Of my reading doesn't matter. The spiral of damage is recursive, reads cumulative from any direction. Tonight, I miss my daughter so hard. She went to live across the country in what might be our last safe year. I am going to read my favorite poem from this book now. Please do pay attention. It's really short. Blink and you miss it. Day 75, I step away to lick wounds. If a poem is a tattoo, I am inked and scarred by these words. So around day 82, friends of ours from the Netherlands came. And because it was so hard to have conversations, because everybody has a different opinion, I thought this is going to be great because we'll be able to talk to our old friends. Day 82, I'm spending money at our overstocked market, making a grand dinner for our guests, and yet we can't talk about the war. Israeli soldiers dying because never again, and they're not wrong, but Gazans starving, needing the basics of life, like water. I need a poem driven by the unbearable dailiness of this time. Why can't I ask, what do you mean? Instead of wedging my own hot and sticky and urgent opinion into it. Why can't you? And this is the title poem of the collection. And what it's based on is that Torah and Psalms and also Quran teaches the importance of the words that you choose when you pray, how precise they have to be. And this can sometimes make prayer, for me at least, terrifying. Okay, day 118, the proper way to phrase a prayer for peace. After Psalm 118. What if I ask for the wrong thing? My words are imprecise, and you tend towards the literal. I'm listening to the noise that the hours make, waiting for my heart to soften, waiting for the ribbons that bind me to loosen. And then I might know what to ask and how to ask for it. Okay, we're at a juncture. I'm going to read one more poem. I'll either read one more poem from this book or one new one. Please vote.
New one. New one.
Okay, new shit. As
This
Kai.
one.
I was going to say this one, this book.
Both?
Oh no. Well, do I have time for two? Anyway.
Two,
Go ahead.
both.
Okay, I'm going to read the new one and then I'll read the last poem in this book. Okay, thank you. You guys, you're so sweet. So now for something more light. No. As most of you know, my husband died suddenly a year and 3 months ago. And I've just been writing grief poems since then. And this one is one of them, and it's going to appear in a magazine called Spiritus, which is nice that they wanted it. Okay. Here's what I have learned. Marital spats don't end with death. The conversation between us continues. I am more solicitous than I was because, well, you are dead. and you deserve a little extra consideration. I do my best to keep you amused, to keep you interested. I'm glad of your company, and just as I always was, afraid I will lose it. I'm in deep discussion with you, back here again in what was our hometown for 2 decades, for the first time since you changed worlds. I'm showing you Amsterdam, all that has changed, all that is not. The weather unusually warm for early May. Your friends take such good care of me. Yes, I hear you say there are friends now. What does it mean to be alone if we are always having this conversation? Please let me sleep, but be there for coffee with me in the morning. Okay. Last one. You guys, I don't know that I have more time. Just do it, Donna, and shut up. Okay. This is called Swarm. And it's the postlude of the book written when I was trying to stop writing the war poems. Swarm, after Psalm 119. My heart risks it all, says generous, but my mind is wily, unkind. These war days drag me down, seaweed in precarious seas, disoriented, the sea's floor lost to me for holdfast. No latch and tug. Can't drag myself up to the shoreline, salty and dripping, and sure that this time I've found your way, as if it were up for interpretation. But I do, you know, I interpret furiously, and now scraping down through the fury, cruelty, at the bottom of it all, at the lowest point, my ears hear your whisper. The whole heart will find me. Thank you so much, you dear humans. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. And thank you, Robbie and Tresha, for having us.
I have to give you some special spaceships.
Okay.
Thank you so much for those beautiful poems, both of you. We just love that you spoke of things that we are running away from and know we can't run away from. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all.
And now for something completely different. I'm going to shift. And Amy, maybe you want to join the open too. We're reading, no, one short poem, and you'd be at the bottom of the list. Our first reader is Judy Cronenfeld because she got here first. What is it?
Two quick questions. One, did you just say you have to give Donna some special spaceships?
Yeah, I'll show you. Now watch my face.
Okay. Oh, well, that's new. I didn't know we could do that. All right.
Yes,
I was wondering if that was like an inside joke or there was some reference to a poem I missed, but thank you, Robbie. The logistical bit of business, I'm just gonna say I'm gonna unspotlight me and Robbie. I'm gonna unspotlight myself, which is the correct usage of the reflexive pronoun there. I'm gonna unspotlight myself, I'm gonna unspotlight Robbie. We're all just gonna be in a grid, which means we're all equal, because changing the spotlight for each new reader is just too much and is more distracting than anything else, I think. And
don't
also
worry
remember,
about it.
Robbie, what is the limit? Can you read like 3 or 4 poems? Can you read your
No,
whole
you can
novel?
read one short poem, and we don't have hooks, but we do have the power to turn you off.
Yeah,
So,
and one of us hates doing that. The other, I think, gets some weird kick out of it. But please don't make us do it, is all I'm gonna say. And yeah, do a
yeah,
one poem. Let's also just say like no more than what, 2 minutes? Is that because sometimes one
yeah,
poem
two and a half maybe,
can be an
but
hour.
no more than that. No, because I don't, my butt hurts if I sit here too long, frankly, and I will let you know that you're annoying me.
Like I said, one of us hates it and the other one of us has no problem, which is why we're a good team. She's the bad cop, I'm the good cop. I'm going to mute myself and Robbie, who did you say was up?
And Judy is up, and on the sideline is Thomas.
All right, welcome, Judy.
Hi, I just have to thank both of the poets. Heidi and Donna, those were amazing readings, so profound, so moving, and so incredibly honest and rich. So thank you both. They were wonderful, just wonderful. So I can't even choose a poem that's related in theme because I can't even find my poems. I've just moved 3,000 miles across the US and generally I'm living with chaos. So I've got a poem that was written anticipating this move, and that's what I'll read. It's called Last Month in SoCal, before we moved to a retirement community near our middle-aged kids. Heat builds behind closed blinds. The AC blasts. The watch duty fire app on my phone shrills an alarm. One coil of hair on my always difficult to manage head won't lie down. One of the two dogs we must surrender before we move 3,000 miles east, out of the zone of the benign and threatening familiar, stretches near my chair and pads over to be stroked. In my mind, the balance scale dips down for a moment on one fearful side. Earthquakes, firestorms, as if that could make the house we've lived in for almost 50 years push itself into the future, become empty, alien, as if that could make us, knowing we must change, leap ahead headlong into the unfamiliar, skipping the ache of transition. Goodbye, goodbye, everything burnished in the invisible, perishable aura of home. Smooth, bare eucalyptus trunks, spindly palms, broad boulevards, godlike naked mountains, spaciousness of vista, days of skies of blazing azure. Goodbye, goodbye, breathing room, breathing rooms.
Oh, thank you so much, Judy. I read that. I forget where. Thank you for reading it. Thomas, you are now up.
Thank you, Robbie, and Heidi, and Donna. Coincidentally, I lost my wife about 15 months ago, and I think I'll read a poem about our previous incarnations. This was recently in Michael Sims' Vox Populi sphere, while hearing the poet after Aaron Abeta. While hearing the poet reading love poems wherein he answers questions asked by his wife about the length and breadth and depth of his love for her, who could I think of but my own beloved? There was that moment, that distant blue that shone through centuries and more, blue even older in your eyes, blue reflected millennia ago off the Euphrates, the blue Nile, the whole blue Pacific Ocean, when I knew I had loved you before there were Octobers and Augusts, before monuments made to the moon and the stars, which were ours, even before calendars were marked on stones or bones those thousands of years, before anyone had left Africa for Asia, before anyone knew the blue of the Aegean Sea, and its blueness, and stars were etched on stone and painted on walls. I loved you sacred before temple, synagogue, or church, when love was blue water in a green cathedral under a new blue sky, and the water fell from cliff stone into sun-sparkled air, became the dazzled light of water falling, as I am still so dazzled as earth draws me falling, incandescent for you, now as through all those centuries, now as then, as always. I love you as the blue water bends to touch the stone, the shore, as we touched our shores under moons and stars, as we loved again and again all this time since touch began.
That's lovely, Thomas. Thank you. And Thomas will be joining us next year sometime to read as a feature. I can't keep up with all the months, but hang around and he'll eventually come up. Our next reader is Rose.
Oh, okay. I actually took to heart what you said, and I chose another poem to read because the other one was a bit long. So I'm reading this one from my book, Do Oceans Have Underwater Borders? On the porch of Eagle Pond Farm, for Jane Kenyon. The moment she grounded, her blood felt red hot and throbbing until it was tampered with. Wondered what was gushing through those long, winding, narrow tunnels. Felt transparent, snaking under her skin, bubbling through burnt flesh, running chemical. When the pain eased, she dared again to draw in the scent of the honeysuckle, touch the hot scones, lean back in her chair. But she knew. Thank you.
Well, you're killing me, guys. Our next reader is T. T, you still here?
Yeah, I'm here. I was
Okay.
just wanted to show off the give credit to where my poem is published. It's in it's blurry. It's in an anthology through Writing Heights called Splendor. And
That's
so
beautiful.
I'm grateful. And it's a whole collection of love poems and love stories, which I love reading love poems and love stories and writing them too. Hayburn Cabin. I thought my first kiss would happen in the arms of Justin Gregory, the counselor, or someone like him. Instead, it was a boy from Hayburn. What was his name? Who hid with me behind the outhouse after Bible study. I remember our noses bumped as he tasted my vanilla lip gloss, and ammonia floated out to us between brown boards. At sunset, the boy spat, farted, joked with his buddies on the hayride as I sat behind the cowboys and bouncing Clydesdale's backs. The old maintenance man told us he grew a beard one time, and his wife whittled it away, shave by shave, first saying he'd be handsome with an Abe Lincoln look, and then sideburns and a mustache, until finally it was gone. His wife sat there, listening, knew each word like campfire songs, and traced her hand along his denim, her bifocal framed eyes on him as though this were the first and last and every time they'd touched.
Thank you. Our next reader is Joel Katz.
Hello, everyone. This poem uses a mnemonic for the order of colors in a rainbow. So the mnemonic is Roy G. Biv, which stands for red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Roy G. Biv. To Monday. Hello, Monday, where the skies are cloudy all day and some discouraging words can be seen floating in the air alongside those fan-powered semi-human figures who dance and collapse in front of car dealerships. Sometimes you're a storm's hiccup, sometimes just a plate of sun or shrewd showers. Hello, Monday. The word for today is agitate, or maybe occult. According to Mr. Roy G. Biv, today will be prismatic, or even downright edgy, which is to say, let's not scale up this poem to cover all circumstances. Let others grow the business and turn it into a franchise while we gather to celebrate something or other once and again. Monday, you hang around all day. The bevy of you, the flounce of you. You're making me dizzy with boredom, and it's not always easy. As my friend Rodney says, only a piece of cake is really a piece of cake. Thank you.
Thank you. That was fun. Okay. Dick.
Well, I was going to read a more contemporary poem like I like to read my most recent, but sort of as extending Donna's beautiful work on the war and heeding Robbie's instructions for a very short poem. I'll read one. And just by preface, I'm in a poetry group with a number of Israeli expats and Palestinian poets, including a Gazan poet, and we write poems for each other every 3 weeks or so. And this was one from the week of October 2nd, 2025, so right before the second anniversary. And the title is from a headline from NPR, Israel orders the evacuation of Gaza City again. Very short. Like tired planets plodding around a dying sun, the people are made to walk in circles around their city as it burns. Thank you.
Could you read that again?
I will. Israel orders the evacuation of Gaza City again. NPR, October 2nd, 2025. Like tired planets plodding around a dying sun, the people are made to walk in circles around their city as it burns.
Beautiful. Thank you. And Amy. You have to unmute yourself, yeah.
Thanks. I'm sorry I was late, Heidi. I'm so sorry I missed your reading. And Donna, yay. I finally heard your work. It's lovely. So I wasn't prepared, of course, but this is a short one from my book. And it was I went to an Alice Neal retrospective, and she was sitting in a striped chair in one of her paintings. A widow travels to an art museum. The train's window cloudy as cataracts. Slowly, my body returns to me. Though Rodin's genius of eternal rest is without head and arms, nothing essential is missing. He dares sorrow, leans into it. Nothing is lost in Neil's self-portrait, her breasts resting flat against her belly. Green shading, she's draped in earth. Blue tension outlines her. Her sky outlines her. I sit with her for a moment in the striped chair. Rise alone. I am beginning to accept what I have lost. Blue leans into me like new love. Thanks for making space for me, Robin.
Always.
Yeah.
It is now Tresha's turn.
Already? Has everyone else gone?
Yeah.
Robbie, that's insane. Okay. Thank you. First of all, I just want to say again, thank you to our features. Thank you to Donna and Heidi. I mean, we've been friends on Facebook for years, but now I actually get to hear you, and that is really quite something. And I thought I had more time to decide which poem I wanted to read, so I'm sorry if I'm a little flustered here. Boy, that went so fast.
Do you
I've
want me
been
to
wanting.
go first?
I'll just let the universe decide. I'm going to pull up this poem, and this is the one that's on my screen, so I'll read it. Thank you, Robbie. I've been wanting to say this for a while. I finally had some work accepted by Eclectica, and if you've never submitted to them, they are such a lovely journal and a generous editor there. He's very, very kind. Both when she rejected my work earlier and when she finally accepted some. So I highly recommend them. But this is the first of the poems that I had published in them, and it's called "I Bought a Money Feeder for the Front Window." My husband says it's a waste of birds. I tell him I've been earning extra birds by working overtime. He says we need to save our birds in case something happens. I tell him I want to look at money every morning, want to attract it to our window. He doesn't understand the importance of seeing it every day, the way a dollar folds and unfolds its body, what it means to watch the money eat. I know money doesn't need me, it has plenty to eat on its own, but I like to watch it, to hear it coming from who knows where, out of the trees, out of the dark places where money hides, all the way to our window frame. The sound money makes when it's happy, first thing in the morning, coming to feed from what I've left out. But my husband wants us to take precautions. The mere beauty of money is useless. He needs, we need to save birds in case of emergencies, he says. If the crops start dying, if the electricity goes off, what will we do without enough feathers to keep us warm?
Yeah. How many cats do you have now?
Oh, was my cat getting in the way there?
Yes. Well,
She also loves to see the money feeder, the bird feeder at the windowsill every morning.
I'm sure. Well, you have a choice. Two poems that are going to be up in Vox Populi at different times. Um, one is about what we need, and one is a kind of nasty take on what T wrote about. Not
Nasty
that
take.
kind of
Nasty.
okay.
I vote
Nasty
nasty.
take.
Not that kind of nasty, but
Oh, well, damn, then I want the other one.
unsavory, liminal. One late summer day, when I was just about 13, I saw a bedraggled mimosa tree growing beside a dumpster. It was an accident, seed dropped by a bird, but it seemed a firmament of pinwheel stars. All I wanted was to climb it, rest beneath the shelter of its leaves, to escape the awkward body I was tethered to, growing hair in places that had once been sheer skin, volcanic acne seething on my cheeks and chin. I crossed over to the vacant lot where the smell of ripe rot stung my nose, felt the tree's hot bark beneath my hands, waves of heat shimmering on the cement. Above me, in the heaving gypsy caterpillar tent, thousands of bodies transformed to something new, consuming every leaf, falling through the web onto the dirt. I was caught up in this wreck of tangled morning glory vines and ragweed, this latter day gone Eden. Thank you. They're saving that for spring.
Where is that going to be published, Robbie?
Vox Populi.
Oh, fantastic. As we're closing out here, everyone, I just want to say, you're writing, everyone here. It's so good and it's so valid. And we don't we really are drowning in a wealth of fabulous poets, and we only do this once a month, so it's not possible to have everyone feature all the time. But on Saturdays, I facilitate a workshop called Poets Inspiring Poets, and the way it works is we show up, we read published poems, and then we write for a little while, just responding to those poems, and then we share new work. It's oh my God, some of you guys, your poems, I'm just like, I want to write a poem responding to this one, or I want to write a poem that takes a line from this one. So if anyone's interested in joining us for that group, it's a combination. We could also call it the Saturday celebration group too, because we're celebrating which poems we finished and had published. So if anyone's interested in that, please check out the list of offerings and dates and times on my Substack, which I just put in the chat. And we have some great poets coming to feature there as well. But their feature is meaning they'll get to read 2 or 3 poems, whereas everyone else we ask to read just one. So it's also a great way to meet some other fantastic published poets who have a lot to teach us as well. Yeah, I'd love to hear all of these poems again, everyone. So please come out and join us if you can. Okay.
I had a question about Heidi's title, and I wrote it actually in the chat, but she was busy reading, of course, so she couldn't see it. I wondered why you spelled it tick, T-I-C, like Tourette's tics, rather than T-I-C-K. Whether you were also thinking of something compulsive, something out of our control.
Yes. And internationally, they don't use the K, but
Oh, I didn't know that.
but yeah, kind of everything.
Yeah, okay.
Sometimes I
Because
don't, I have no idea.
well, I think that's true of all of us. Yeah. But
Yeah.
thank you. Both of everyone was just wonderful, and it's a privilege to be among you. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And
So
I
long,
think,
farewell.
Thank you,
yeah,
thank you for
we
having
hope you'll
us.
return. We'll hope you return to be in the open mic with all these lovely folks. How'd you do
How did
that?
you do that, Heidi?
So you have form a heart like this, make sure it's on a somewhat darker
You ready?
background,
We can
and
do
then
it.
it goes.
Wait,
Has to be
That's
hard.
what your readers think about you.
But then who was pushing the
Yeah.
heart
It just
emoji?
happens. Whoops.
You have to wait till Dick, I'll teach you how. But you can, if you make sure that it really looks like a heart.
My fingers don't bend like that.
Yeah, I'm too arthritic.
Mine.
I don't
That's
know.
perfect. Now put it on a darker background.
Oh. Well, and I do have my reactions turned on, so I'm not sure why it's not working.
That's going to do it.
Huh. Oh,
Yeah,
well.
you have to have your reactions turned on too.
I
But
see.
anyway,
Or not
it was
turned on.
magical when you did it, Heidi. Thank you.
Yeah.
Heidi's got the magic.
We are.
You should
The
read
real thing
poetry
we
in
want
Las
to know.
Vegas.
Such skill, Heidi. That was really
All right.
One more time.
Thank you. And you should
There you go.
You did it.
I had to turn
On
it
that
on in two
note.
places. There we go.
Good night,
See.
guys.
Betsy, go look for
Night.
your lost card.
Yeah, no, I got it. I already looked. I gave up. I'm gonna.
Thank you, dear poets. Thank you so much.
We'll
for
have
coming in.
another workshop just for how to use the emojis.
Well, my cat stole my hearing aid.
Oh.
So
I
win.
I'm serious, Robbie. You have to put that in a poem. Yeah. That would be a great.
Oh yeah, you do.
Don't teach you about aging. That belongs somewhere.
Oh.
All right. Love this. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Good night, everyone.
Night.
Judy, I hope to see you when we go to AWP. Good.
Also, maybe
Mail
I
me.
can figure it out.
Message me. Message me.
Okay.
Hi,
I
everyone.
wish I were going, but
See y'all soon.